All right, let's get right into it. If you're a CRNA doing contract work, you totally know this feeling. You find an amazing job, you fire off your CV to an agency, and then crickets. You're just left waiting. It can seriously feel like your application just vanished into thin air. Well, today we are pulling back that curtain to show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes the moment you hit send. It's the big question, isn't it? The one every single contract CRNA has asked themselves. You've done your part, you've polished your CV, you've sent it off for what seems like the perfect gig. But that silence that follows, it can be maddening. It really feels like your professional life just got sucked into some kind of black box. Well, guess what? We're about to pry that box right open. You know, the key to this whole mystery is a piece of technology you might not even realize is running the show. It's called a vendor management system, or VMS for short. And believe me, this is the central hub where all the action really begins for your application. So what on earth is a VMS? The easiest way to think about it is like a private online marketplace. On one side, you've got the healthcare facilities posting all their open contract jobs. And on the other side, you've got all the staffing agencies logging in, looking for those jobs, and submitting candidates, that's you, to fill them. It's basically the digital middleman that connects the hospital to your agency. So how does your profile actually get out there and hit the market? Well, once your agency has your CV, they don't just, forward it in an email to some hiring manager. No, it's way more formal than that. They start a process of building your profile and then submitting it directly into that facility's VMS. From the agency's perspective, it's a pretty clear two-step process. First, they're digging through all the job postings on the VMS, trying to find the perfect match for your skills and what you're looking for. Then, as soon as they find a good fit, they officially submit your profile, and, this is key, they also propose a pay rate for the job. And it's really important to understand what a profile means here. It is not just your CV. To even be in the running, the agency has to submit a whole package. Your CV, of course, but also your professional references and all of your necessary certifications. They literally can't even present you for the job until they have all this stuff ready to upload. And that brings us to a huge point: speed. In this game, every single moment counts. If you're slow getting your documents to the agency, that means they're slow submitting you. And while you're busy tracking down that one piece of paper, you better believe other qualified candidates are already getting their names in front of the hiring manager. Now, once your profile is in the system, you are officially in the game. But here's the thing, you're not the only one playing. This is where it gets really intense, and the whole process basically turns into a bidding war for that one position. This is something that catches so many CRNAs by surprise. For one single job opening, a hospital might get submissions from 5, 10, maybe even more different staffing agencies. And each one of those agencies is putting forward their best candidate, creating this head-to-head competition inside the VMS that you probably don't even know is happening. And let's talk about the money side of this competition. For the very same job, Agency A might propose a candidate at a certain rate, while Agency B slides in just a little bit lower, and maybe Agency C comes in even lower than that. They all have their reasons, maybe lower overhead, or they're willing to take a smaller cut to win the contract. The bottom line is, they are all bidding to make their candidate look like the most attractive package deal. Which of course leads to the million-dollar question, right? Is the hospital just looking for the absolute best person for the job, or are they trying to find a really good person at the cheapest possible price? Well, the truth is, it's usually a mix of both, which is why being super clear and transparent with your agency about pay rates is so important. Okay, so all the bids are in, we've got multiple candidates, multiple rates, now the ball is in the hospital's court. So let's take a peek at how they actually pick a winner from this pool of candidates inside the VMS. So, the hiring team logs into their side of the VMS and they see all the submissions lined up, nice and neat. The platform lets them review and compare every single candidate side by side, which makes for a really structured, data-driven way to evaluate everyone. And this whole thing can be surprisingly methodical. A lot of times facilities will use a scoring system right there in the VMS, kind of like what you see here. They're weighing your qualifications and your experience directly against that proposed rate to calculate a final score. It's often less about a gut feeling and a whole lot more about the numbers on the screen. So if your score lands on top and you get selected, your agency gets that fantastic news. And from there, they kick into the final phase, getting all the onboarding done. That means background checks, verifying all your credentials one last time, all the compliance stuff to make it official.
Okay, so now you get it. You see the crazy journey your CV takes from your sent folder all the way to that facility's scorecard. But look, knowing is only half the battle. The real question is, how do you use this info to actually take control of your career?
Learning about this process isn't meant to be intimidating. It's meant to be empowering. Now that you know how the VMS works, you have the power to start asking the right questions. You can advocate for yourself way more effectively and make sure you're being represented fairly every single time.
So here are 5 key things you can do. Number 1, communicate your job preferences super clearly so your agency only submits you for roles you'd actually take. 2, control your CV submissions. You need to know exactly where you're being presented so you don't end up in a bidding war against yourself. 3, ask for regular status updates. 4, keep your credentials ready to go so you don't lose out because of a paperwork delay. And finally, number 5, always get the final job details in writing before you say yes.
At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. If you stop seeing the VMS as some mysterious black box and start seeing it as a system you can navigate, you create an opportunity to make sure that your skills, your value, and your professional brand are all being represented exactly the way they should be. So I'll just leave you with this one thought to chew on. The next time you submit your CV, ask yourself, with everything you know now, is your application really working for you, or is it just working for the system? Knowing the difference, well, that's what's going to set you apart.